for joining us for our review of the 2014 Cannes Lion Award. And we're going to review all the best learnings from the Cannes Lion 2014 Festival. But before we start, I know there's some more familiar and some less familiar people in the room, so I'm going to give you guys a 3-minute overview of the Creative Council. I know you didn't come here to hear about the Creative Council. 3 minutes, that's it, just to show you where we've come from. By way of introduction, my name is Run. I'm the CEO of the Creative Council Group. I'm also one of the founders. And this is who we are today.
The Creative Council.
The Creative Council.
The Creative Council.
The Creative Council.
TCC.
The Creative Council, a company that runs campaigns for some of Africa's biggest brand names. Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now this week we've got a great story of endurance, hardship and frustration that led to a thriving business turning over $57 million
company pioneering
500 million
marketing
rand
solutions.
This is our story from 11 years ago.
We started with a gig because we never said no.
You think
After almost a year of being penniless, their tenacity and ambition paid off, and in just over a decade, their company has grown into an activations empire.
We have a different model. We have a small strategic thinking agency, an agency that tells people how to engage with consumers. That's a very small part of our business. The bigger part of our business is the actual execution. So what you find is we have an agency, a think tank, which is probably 40 big, and then we have a 500-man execution show, which is based all around the country.
get on the floor, you dirty hoe, where your tack is out and then your bottom more.
Tonight it's council style.
Council style. We engage people, we engage customers, and we create real life experiences, something that they can feel is memorable and mean something to them, and at the end of the day drive sales. So we're talking about operational understanding, not just theoretical, not just strategic, but actual executional understanding of activation.
Whatever you think about can happen and does happen, and that's a lot of fun.
We like numbers, we like stats, and that's kind of like what the brand managers were looking for. We came to them and we said, listen, spend money with us and we will help you grow sales. You know, forget all the touchy-feely stuff. We will increase sales because we will engage your consumers directly.
And we take the brands and we find things that drive people, human truths, and we use those as marketing triggers.
Yes.
And we use those as marketing triggers to mobilize consumers to change the way they act or transact.
All
And
right.
that's why people come to us.
Make the case for a smaller, bespoke agency such as yourselves as opposed to the big famous network agency. We interface with consumers every day. We know what works. We propose ideas that work, and then we make them work in-house. And we take accountability from point A to point Z, and that's what makes a difference.
So that's the product of a lot of makeup and a lot of dancing lessons. So yes, we believe we are the only agency that has a creative shop and an execution shop. So we talk to consumers every day. We understand what gets them, what makes them tick, and then we come up with ideas that we can actually execute, and we make them work in-house. And that's what's made us the biggest agency group in South Africa. In the 2013 Ad Review Awards, the Creative Council was the biggest agency group in South Africa. And that's the last time you're going to hear about Creative Council today, because you came here to hear about the Cannes Lion 2014 winners. So before I get into the Cannes Lion winners and the festival, I want to give you guys a taste.
If there's any clients in the room, I think that, be willing to get fired on a good idea.
you can imagine there are a lot of parts we cut out of that video, especially from that closing party. I will say that my team were the first team in the water, some of them half naked, some of them still with clothes on. So there's something special about 76,000 pieces of creative work, 30,000 creatives coming into one place. And what you don't learn in the seminars and the workshops, you pick up in the coffee shops. So you'd be sitting down and you'd be hearing a bunch of creatives talking about a similar problem that you're having in South Africa, and you like interrupt them and say, hey guys, what did you do? Oh, no, we launched a new medium. And I'll show you some of these new mediums that they launched about. So not only that, they obviously reward creativity in a whole lot of categories. Categories like innovation, media, integrated, PR, creative effectiveness. These are all new categories. Because 5 years ago at Cannes, they rewarded media, TV, radio, print, billboard. That's it. And now we've got all of these categories over here. So I know some of you came here for our 2013 Cannes Line Review, and we introduced to you this thing that we called the age of consumer power, where the consumer had all the power, and most of the time the consumer had all the power in the palm of his hands. And we need to adjust our marketing styles to be able to talk to these consumers who now decide what they want to watch, when they want to watch, what device they want to watch it on, what time they want to watch it. It really killed all of our traditional advertising. And in 2013, there were amazing big buzzwords. Likes. We were all after this thing called likes. How many likes have you got on your Facebook page? And this thing called virality, and the big buzzword was, I needed to go viral. Yeah, right. And big data. Can anyone put their hands up and tell me that big data has made a big difference to their business? The big buzzword of big data. Conversation was the big buzzword. Have a conversation with your consumers. You remember that, right? And if you remember, the winner of the Cannes Line 2013 Creative Effectiveness Grand Prix, for once, was a funeral cover business. Funeral cover. And if you remember, they were the first funeral cover business to stand up and say, it's not about product benefits. We're not going to talk about 159 Rand a month. We're not going to talk about interest rates. We're not going to talk about how fast we pay you. We're going to do a whole new spin on this. And they won. And they won in a category called creative effectiveness, which means not only was it creative, but it also got the desired results. So let's see what the ad was. And I promise you, it's the last time we'll watch this content.
If you could say anything to him now, but you only had a short time to say it, what would you say to him?
I really wish I could spend more time with you.
She can't seem to turn them around. She can't seem to turn them around. Keep your head.
I'm really glad that you were my dad.
When a loved one passes, we say such beautiful things. Words we wish we could still say to them. So Dela, a funeral insurance company, started an initiative. Why wait until it's too late? Say something wonderful today. People were given the chance to surprise someone they really care about. Using hidden cameras, we documented their speeches and used them in commercials and for online documentaries.
Ik wil graag iets opdragen aan mijn lieve ouders die hier zitten. Bedankt mama en pap dat jullie je leven in Iran hebben achtergelaten voor mij. Om mij een leven te kunnen bieden waar ik altijd van heb gedroomd. En waarvan ik nooit had gedacht dat het werkelijkheid zou worden. Ik wil jullie heel erg bedanken voor jullie moed en jullie doorzettingsvermogen. En voor alles wat jullie voor mij hebben gedaan.
Pa, ik wil je bedanken voor de mooie jaren hier. En dat niet alleen. Ik ben nu een aantal maanden getrouwd en je hebt mij enorm geholpen met klussen. Eigenlijk sta je altijd voor me klaar. Pa, ik zeg het niet vaak, maar ik hou van je.
Je bent een super zoon in moeilijke tijden en in gewone tijden. Dank je wel, lieve jongen.
Waarom zou je eigenlijk wachten met iemand bedanken als het ook nu kan?
Geld doet me voor de rest niks, maar als ik dit zo'n bedankje krijg, dan vind ik het fantastisch.
We also created newspaper ads with just one word, dear. People were inspired to fill in the rest, to show their love. They could upload these thoughts on our special website. Using the messages written on the ads, we created outdoor posters. Each poster was unique and personal, and displayed locally, where the person it was intended for could see it. We took over a TV channel for an evening, so people could broadcast their love, live on television. People don't want to think about death, but this campaign made them realize even more what life is about. For the first time ever, a funeral insurance company achieved a position among the top 10 best-known brands in the Netherlands. The amount of insured capital grew by 50%. But more importantly, Holland became a little more loving, thanks to our message. Why wait until it's too late? Say something wonderful today.
So last year, a funeral insurance business nails the Creative Effectiveness Award. Who would have thought? And why did they do this? Very simply, because they followed 3 rules. Number 1, stop shouting. No one cares about your product benefits. You've got more vitamin C, who cares? So they followed the cardinal rule of stop shouting about your benefits. Number 2, they took some time to actually get to know their consumer and to know that for their consumer, life was more important than death. And so they came up with a real, what we called then a human truth, which is also a word that we've thrown out the window now. And they created a campaign around this human truth. And the last one, and the one which we keep forgetting, is they turned their consumers into a media channel. They said, look, we've got such a brilliant idea. We'll print a newspaper ad with 1 word. You guys do what you want with it. And that newspaper ad actually took them very, very viral. Okay, that was 2013. So we need to forget about 2013. Like we said, forget everything you know. Because in 2014, we got a whole lot of new buzzwords. And by far, the biggest buzzword, brands with purpose. Everyone's talking about brands with purpose. We'll talk about it later. Oxytocin, combination, integration, neuroscience, second screen technology. Who the hell knows what that means and how it works? But I'll show you. It was no wonder that when we got to Cannes, the first talk was by an agency group in Japan. It's called Hakuhodo. They've got 3,000 staff in Tokyo. It's the biggest agency group in the world. And in my mind, certainly the most innovative agency group in the world. This is an agency that has doctors' rooms, massage parlors, dentists, design boutiques inside the agency. And they started off Cannes with a talk called The Agency Model of 2024. And surprise, surprise, what did they say? The agency in 2024 will not be brand experts. Surprise, surprise. They will be people experts. So it's not enough to just talk the talk. You've got to walk the walk. And so let me show you 2 examples of what this company is actually doing. In Japan, they have a bookstore that sells beer instead of coffee. You cannot get coffee, you can only get beer. Can anyone tell me why? It's simple. People drink beer, they get more relaxed, their wallets come out a lot easier. And they buy more books. Simple as that. They designed a hospital. And in every room in the hospital, they put a fireplace. Why? Why? Because human beings have an instinct to survive around fire. Fire means your body is under attack. And if you light a fire, your body heals itself quicker because it's got to survive. And that's why they created hospital rooms with a fireplace. Now, these are people experts. So, before we get into Cannes 2014, I want you guys to forget everything that we've taught you and everything that you know. And I wish I had the button that could go, and you'd all forget everything. I want you to forget about how you talk to your consumers. I want you to forget about this piece of paper that kills our lives called the media plan. And I want you to forget about how you guys approach the creative process. Because if you do that, you might actually come up with magic. And I want to show you guys an example of a Cannes-winning ad from a few years ago, just to highlight how we should better talk to our consumers.
The amazing Always Infinity. It's astonishingly flexible, unbelievably soft, and has an amazing material that's 4 times more absorbent than you may need, making fluids seem to poof, disappear, just like magic. Always Infinity. Have a happy period.
Have a happy period. Cannes Lion Award-winning insight back in the day. Now, Procter & Gamble are known to be quite conservative. And if Procter & Gamble can change that piece of work, have a happy period, great insight, to this piece of work.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going to just give you some actions to do. I just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
My hair. Oh, God.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
Aww. My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
So do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. I mean, yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
Is like a girl a good thing?
Actually, I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. It sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like you're trying to humiliate someone.
So when they're in that vulnerable time between 10 and 12, how do you think it affects them when somebody uses like a girl as an insult?
I think it definitely drops their self-confidence and really puts them down, because during that time they're already trying to figure themselves out, and when somebody says you hit like a girl, it's like, well, what does that mean? Because they think they're a strong person. It's kind of like telling them that they're weak and they're not as good as them.
And what advice do you have to young girls who are told they run like a girl, kick like a girl, hit like a girl, swing like a girl?
Keep doing it, because it's working. If somebody else says that running like a girl or kicking like a girl or shooting like a girl is something that you shouldn't be doing, that's their problem. Because if you're still scoring and you're still getting to the ball on time and you're still being first, you're doing it right. Doesn't matter what they say. I mean, yes, I kick like a girl and I swim like a girl and I walk like a girl and I wake up in the morning like a girl because I am a girl. And that is not something that I should be ashamed of. So I'm gonna do it anyway. That's what they should do.
If I asked you to run like a girl now, would you do it differently?
I would run like myself.
Would you like a chance to redo it?
Yeah.
Why can't run like a girl also mean win the race?
It's a far cry away from have a happy period, right? Just saying. So, what's the difference? The difference is very simple. In the old days, we thought that we made an assumption that consumers were stupid. And they'd listen to anything that we tell them because they had limited information. And today we have to make a different assumption. We have to make an assumption that consumers are bombarded and they have perfect access to information. And because they have perfect access to information, they choose what they want to listen to, they choose what they want to watch, they choose when they want to watch it. They are fully in control. So unless you can add value to their lives and to the greater good of society, you've got no chance of penetrating. And Jared Leto turned around and he was quite direct. He said, people don't give about your brand. And in fact, he said some other wise words.
Like I said before, advertising can't save the internet, and it can't save the world, and it's certainly not going to save your brand unless it's done in a way that offers somebody something. And I think if your brand doesn't really have something to offer, it's going to be dead no matter how great the advertising is. You know, we've seen it a lot of times. Yeah. So tell your brands that, make something great, first of all. You can't resuscitate a pile of stinking yak turd, and God knows you've tried, probably, right?
And that was one of the most profound lectures it can, because what he said is, unless your brand is going to make a real difference to my life, to the society that I live in, to the world that I live in, I don't want to talk to you. I don't care that you're more absorbent. I don't care that you have more vitamin C. I don't care that you taste here. Make a difference to the society in which I live. And that was the introduction for what they called brands with purpose. And they said, from now on, the big buzzword, your brand must have a purpose. The purpose cannot be removing stains off clothes so that kids can play anymore, because that's not good enough anymore. You need to have a purpose for my greater good and the greater good of my society and my environment. And so brands say, okay, cool, we've bought into this thing called brands with purpose, but where the hell do we start? Well, for one, lose this thing that you call the brand key, because it's your brand key. And we keep changing it, the brand tone, the brand personality, who we're talking to. Forget about that. And start thinking about one thing. What is your brand mission? What is the mission? So for Vodafone, the mission is to be the communications leader in an increasingly connected world. And that doesn't mean cell phones, it means communication leader. And when you do that,
Lo que pasa, los chilos no saben.
Pero como yo no tengo ya con quién hablar.
There's some people who think that when a language dies, the knowledge of that people about their natural surroundings dies with it. But you have to realize there's so many languages going, we can't really stop that. It's like trying to rescue a species from extinction.
Hemos tratado de hacer todo lo posible para volverlos a reunir y para poder trabajar juntos.
Prácticamente ellos pues, han vivido peleando por eso. No se le entiende, la verdad.
En vez de pelear, que se unan los dos y le enseñen a la gente su idioma.
Saben a la gran inauguración de la escuelita Yapaneco del señor Isidro y del señor Manuel.
Mucho gusto,
Acá
hermano.
estamos. ¿De qué tiempo?
Chilo, ¿cómo estás?
Para que participen con nosotros en las clases de la escuela Ayapaneco. Uno, dos, tres. ¡Felicidades! ¡Un aplauso!
The first time I ever heard them speak together in Ayapaneco was at the fiesta. I think it's nice that Manuel and Isidro are trying to teach the kids. Well, the children are the future for this language.
There's a brand with purpose. A brand that's not only about communication in minutes and megs and data and airtime, but a brand that really cares about worldwide communication. So we took one of the marketing directors of Uni Foods with us. And after being inspired in all these lectures, I think he got it, because he sent us an SMS that said, I don't want to sell soup. I want to change the world, starting with Africa, while selling soup. And I think that was the change in mindset. And it's no wonder that a guy like this works at a company that can do work like this.
Okay, so clear the background. If you would like to take the seat here.
the joy of having a new child, and on the other side, the worries and the fears.
You realize that you're someone else's protector.
We are scared. We are scared seeing the present. We are scared for the future.
I do worry for the baby now, as the future, what's going to hold for them.
Maybe there's something you should know about the world in which your child will live. Something real. Something that's already happening. Every day, more and more food is being grown with a revolutionary method. Care. And new technologies will make clean drinking water available to hundreds of millions. So this will probably be the famous water war they speak so much about. And illnesses that today affect millions of children a year will be prevented by simple, everyday products. Your child could have more possibilities of having a healthier heart than any living person today. And the same chance of a broken heart. No one can escape that. But we have no doubt about one thing. They'll always have a tree in which to hide and cry. And by the time they find the right person, our children will have better chances of meeting their great-grandchildren than we ever did. Breathe calmly. Bring your child into this world. There has never been a better time to create a brighter future for everyone on the planet. For those yet to come.
Sometimes people use the environment and the world as an excuse for them to say, okay, yeah, it's not a good place to bring up a child.
Where I come from, you don't get to see clean water like that.
The world needs more good guys, and I like to think our baby will be one of the good guys.
But we have to change for them first.
We might not see it,
We
but
won't
maybe
see it,
our
but
great-grandchildren
great-grandchildren will see it.
Great-great-grandchildren.
We're the characters in this story. How the story pans out is based on how we behave in the story. So, yeah, it's up to us to make a change, absolutely.
What a brilliant story, what a brilliant purpose. And if you noticed, they incorporated all their brands into this. Cleaner Hands, Better Heart, Flora, it was a hidden brand message. So I want to show you another example. And in my mind, this next example, it's a local example. And it should have won a gold. And I think it didn't win a gold because the judges didn't understand South Africa. I really think this is one of the best campaigns South Africa's ever done.
Across South Africa, 65% of learners cannot read. And in most cases, naming the letters of the alphabet is a challenge. With a lack of proper foundations in literacy, and with most teachers not having the right educational tools, the majority of children struggle throughout school. But what if you could take brands? Brands that South Africans love and see every day. Brands that they're so familiar with before they even start school, and use them to make an actual difference. like teach kids to read and write. So we created the Tiger Alphabet, an alphabet made up of South Africa's most loved brands, from the largest FMCG company in Africa, Tiger Brands. Using the first letter from each brand, we created an entire alphabet. From books that doubled up as classroom wraps, to posters, alphabetical blocks, key cards and stickers, we rolled out the alphabet in schools that needed it the most.
They match the picture with the letter, and it becomes easier for them to recall or to pronounce the word.
It's changing the way our children are learning to read.
We also took it outside classrooms and created science in and around their communities. The Tiger Alphabet is becoming an institution that will have a massive positive impact on our children's ability to read and write for years to come. Plans are already underway to roll it out into more schools in the hope that our country's iconic brands can help teachers educate future children their ABCs.
So, A is for? B is for? Great, and I'm talking to a bunch of adults here, huh? Okay, so now you've got this whole thing, you've caught onto this brand with purpose, we've looked at the mission, we've created a brand with purpose, but your consumers, you're still not connecting with them. And why? I'm going to take you back to this slide. Because in this room, the majority of us are brand experts. We need more people experts. And the reason why we need more people experts is because we've got to change the way we look at our consumers. We can't keep looking at our consumers like this. Psychographics, demographics, every brief we get, LSM 7 to 10. Oh, no, actually we think it might be 6 to 9, we're not sure. You know, just give us 6 to 10. Educator, blah, blah. That's how we approach our briefs. And what we've forgotten about is we've forgotten about the two most important things. The mind and the heart. And that was the intro into neuroscience that we experienced at Cannes. So one of the speakers, Bo Lotto, said, he said, people create meaning to understand the world. What we call perception. Once you understand perception, you understand what it is to be human. And he played a game with us. He did an example with us. And I want to do the same example with you guys. So, I want you to tell me what you hear. Anyone hear anything? Anyone hear? You know what, let me play one more time. Listen, it's saying something. Anyone hear marijuana? Yes. Hands up if you heard marijuana. Okay, cool. No, one more time. You got it. Marijuana? Okay. Anyone here, it's fun to smoke marijuana? Yes, no? Try again. It's fun to smoke marijuana. It's fun to smoke marijuana. If you haven't tried it, try it. It's fun. Okay, one more time. It's fun to smoke marijuana. Okay, hands up if you're still not hearing. Okay, for the rest of you, I've just created a new reality for you by changing your perception of something. Because actually what you were listening to was...
Another one bites the dust.
Play
Another one bites the dust. Ow! Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey! Another one bites the dust.
So there was no it's fun to smoke marijuana. I've simply changed your perception of something, which changed your reality of something. And guess what? Now every time I play that song backwards, you're going to think to yourself, it's fun to smoke marijuana. And some of you may even go and smoke marijuana. And that way my marketing would have worked. So how many of you grew up in a house where they said to you chewing gum was bad? Do not chew gum. Teachers made us spit out our gum, yes? Don't chew gum in meetings, yes? Okay, so let's use those neuroscience triggers to change things. Now watch this.
Welcome. Which one seems like he has more friends? Which one has more imaginary friends? Which one gets invited to more parties? Which one gets invited to more bridge tournaments? Which one is the bad cop? Which of these bosses would give you a raise? Which one would fire you when you ask for a raise? Which one has a better sex life? Which one never puts money into the employee gift pool? Which one really enjoys giving you a ticket? Thank you.
So next time the teachers tell you it's bad to chew gum, there you go. But there's a brand that really understands neuroscience, understands how people are wired, and use that to their advantage. Let me show you another example, a do-good example of how you can use neuroscience to change the way people respond to things. Watch this.
Morning. Can I give you some info? Morning, sir. Take a leaflet. Leaflet, guys. Morning, buddy. How are you? Would you like to take a leaflet? Fuck the poor? Would you like to take a leaflet, mate? What do you mean, fuck the poor? Fuck the poor. Fuck them.
That's disgusting.
What's all this?
What do you think you should do?
It's hard to get a job if you ain't got a place to live.
I came from a poor country. She just fucked me as well, yeah?
They've hit rock bottom. There's a reason for that. You should be thinking of a better way to get them off the street.
The guy's cold down there, go give him a blanket.
Is this a joke?
We're gonna become bitter, bruv, inside.
I've been homeless for 2 years. You've got no fucking heart.
I don't respect that at all.
You're just standing there like an idiot.
Do you not think it's too far? That is offensive.
Get the fuck out of here.
Help the poor. Anyone got any spare change, folks? Help the poor. Help the poor, please, folks. Anybody? Thank you, sir. Cheers, thank you very much.
Anybody? Anybody? So that's the neuroscience part of it. And what they're saying is what you should do is you should use neuroscience triggers, but that's not always enough. You've got to combine it with emotion or with the heart. And you've got to get this magical recipe of neuroscience triggers an emotion with a heart to get people to connect with your brand with purpose. So I want to show you another piece of work. I'll pass tissues around with this piece of work. I think it's so brilliant.
Давай, пошли. Ой, осторожнее.
Nochmal, Schätzchen. Here we go.
I know, it's cold.
Nice shot, buddy.
P&G, proud sponsor of moms.
Some of you guys don't feel connected to this brand, right? Everyone has a mum, and their mum comes to watch them on their big day. Even my mum's here today on my big day talking. So, yeah. Even the guys from Kimberly-Clark, you also feel connected to the Procter & Gamble guys right now, right? So, it's a great story. And speaking of stories, I want to tell you a story. As I said that, did you see some of you lean forward? Like, why? Very simply, because as I said the word, I want to tell you a story, your brain responded. And it responded by releasing a hormone. And that hormone is called oxytocin. That is the hormone that made you feel so connected to that Procter & Gamble ad and brand. It's a hormone that your body produces. It's a brain chemical that affects your feelings. It's the hormone of love. It's the hormone of connectedness. It's a hormone of deep empathy, intense bonding, unity. If there was no oxytocin, we'd have no family because we'd have no connection to people. We'd have no friends. We'd have no cities. We'd have no communities. So oxytocin is this hormone that the brain produces when it connects, when it tells us stories. It's the trust hormone. It's the good and it's the great hormone. Now, some good news about this hormone. It is being used in the United States in an injection form for couples that have been together for too long and are trying to get united again. So they take this hormone, they inject it, and they put you on a couch, and you start to connect again. You start giving massages to one another, and so on and so forth. But that is what oxytocin is. Now, I want you to watch two more pieces of work, and I want you to consciously try and feel when you get the oxytocin rush. Okay? Let's go.
Dedication. Loyalty.
Guys are getting better at this, yeah. Next week, buddy.
Friendship. The choices we make reveal the true nature of our character.
Okay, did anyone not get an oxytocin rush? Just need to make sure. Let me show you one more piece of work. Again, try and tell me when you connect with Guinness. Try and tell me when you connect to this ad. Anyone not get the oxytocin rush? Now, don't you wish you could bottle it almost and bottle that feeling of emotion and sell it to your consumers and say, instead of advertising, here's a bottle of my oxytocin? Because that's the future of the industry. That rush that you got of oxytocin is the equivalent to what you'd usually get in a 30-minute sitcom. And you got it in a 90-second commercial. And that's the future of our industry. It's to create content that makes people feel like this in just 90 seconds. Now, those were basic examples. Why? They all had people. We could relate to the people. We could relate to the emotion. I want to ask you a question. So we know that sex is the highest viewed thing on the internet, right? And we know that after that comes finance. What comes next? Cats. Cats.
Dear kitten, since I have hissed at you the customary 437 times, it is now my duty as the head of the household to begrudgingly welcome you. Perhaps you are here to replace me, but I must do my duty and educate you on your new surroundings, as Maximilian once did for me. Rest in peace. Dear kitten, this room here is basically a crapshoot. Either you get the petting of your life, and I'm in two hands, like you don't even know what's going on, or they just lie there and don't do anything. For hours, it's weird. Oh, and I should also point out, on special occasions, they will leave the underwear drawer open to signal their appreciation of me. Just to be clear, it's my spot. It's perfect in there. It's like sleeping surrounded by underwear. Well, I mean, that's exactly what it is. Dear kitten, I remember when I could fit in a shoe. There's nothing like it. Being engulfed in 360 degrees of foot smell. Enjoy it while you can. Dear kitten, because you are so small, you cannot jump, which is sad. Sad for you. But eventually you will, and you will find the places that I refer to as up. This will come in handy, especially around the human larva, which I know smells like milk, but can be a bit grabby. Dear kitten, you should be aware that there are two kinds of food. The first is sort of a dehydrated brown niblet. I think they gave us these because they're training us to be astronauts. Just a guess. The second kind is wet food. It is so special they keep it in little armored metal casings that no claw can penetrate. With no claws to speak of, the humans can somehow open them. It's like some dark magic. Dear kitten, I should warn you of the monster known as vacuum. It can eat and yell at the same time, and I've seen it eat everything. Seriously, like a paperclip and 2 cat toys. Didn't even flinch. To hide from vacuum, you may use the curtains of invisibility. Oh yeah, you're good. Good hiding. Oh boy. Dear kitten, one final note. Once in a while you might see a little red dot. I'm going to tell you this right now. It is real, and it can be caught. I did it once. I held it for a full minute, but when I lifted my paws, it was gone. So kitten, welcome to the household. You'll do just fine.
Okay, at this point, is there anybody... Is there anybody that has a cat that isn't tempted to buy Friskies right now? And that's the oxytocin. So one of the speakers in Cannes said, the difference between good and great connections lies in creating and crafting your content to best evoke the release of oxytocin. And he summed it up beautifully in a nutshell. Because A, we've got to create good things, but we've also got to craft our content so beautifully that in 90 seconds, or in 120 seconds, we need to release oxytocin. And we do this in the way it's been done for thousands of years and for generations through storytelling. And I want to show you a video which I think was the best story in Cannes. And I want you to notice a few things. The first thing is, as you're watching it, notice that you're watching it in a foreign language. And I bet you won't be able to keep noticing that. Because the story is so brilliant that even in a foreign language, it makes perfect sense. Listen to the music. Listen to the authenticity of the accents. Look at the authenticity of the people. And notice how much oxytocin you get in 90 seconds.
ये मैं, ये यूसुफ, लंगोटिया यार सी मेरा। लाहौर में हमारे घर के सामने एक बड़ा बाग था। उस बाग का गेट बाबा आदम के ज़माने। रोज शाम को हमने वहाँ पतंगे उड़ानी और उसके बाद जाके यूसुफ के दुकान से झझरिया चुरा के खानी।
झझरिया?
मेरा साहब नमस्ते। नमस्ते। मेरी पोती मुंबई वाली। और बेटे क्या हाल चाल है?
बचपन की तंग गली फिर से कूदे फांदे, छोटी छोटी मीठी चोरी गांठ लेके बांधे।
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
फाजिल स्वीट्स?
हाँ जी। दादाजान, दिल्ली से किसी की कॉल है।
हेलो,
यूसुफ अंकल?
कौन?
जी मैं सुमन बोल रही हूँ दिल्ली से, आपके बचपन के दोस्त बलदेव जी की पोती। याद है बचपन में आप दोनों झझरिया चुरा के खाते थे?
बचपन की तंग गली फिर से कूदे फांदे, छोटी छोटी मीठी चोरी गांठ लेके बांधे। एक पतंग सा उड़ता था परिंदों की तरह, परिंदों की तरह, परिंदों की तरह। एक दौर था मन मन मोर था, एक दौर था मन मन मोर था। पार्टीशन के वक्त हम रातों रात हिंदुस्तान आ गए।
दादू?
यूसुफ दी बड़ी याद आती। कागजों की कश्तियों में डूबा रहता था, झांकती खिड़कियों में उलझा रहता था। वो भी क्या दौर था, मन पे न जोर था। एक दौर था मन मन मोर था, एक दौर था मन मन मोर था।
भैया थोड़ा जल्दी।
मन मोर। हाँ जी, कौन? हैप्पी बर्थडे यारा। यूसुफ वो यूसुफ मेरे बल्लू यूसुफ यार।
So, actually what that was just a 90-second product demo for Google search. That's what it was. Just done slightly differently. It's that same commercial we had about Always, the product demo, Same thing, just done slightly different to evoke the release of oxytocin. That is all it was. Now I want to show you a practical activation example that will release the same amount of oxytocin, I hope, for you guys. Now, this is a school, a Brazilian school that wants to teach their kids English. And they found an amazing insight. There's a whole lot of old people who all they want to do is talk. And their grandsons and their kids don't want to go and visit them in the old age homes. And look how they used it.
Not all of our students have the chance to travel abroad and to interact with native speakers of English. What our students really want is to speak English fluently. And we're always asking ourselves, how can we make it more real, more human? We created a tool that connects our students with seniors in the USA living in retirement homes.
Hello.
Melissa.
Hi, Dick. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
It's the first time that I'm talking with someone from another country.
I'm very excited to be doing this.
I look like I'm only 25, but I'm 88.
Do you have sisters and brothers?
No, I'm one child.
Only one? Oh, you poor fella.
I'm living with my old brother. He has 23 years.
Do you know, instead of saying he has 23 years, you could say he is 23 years old.
I tried to go to Lollapalooza that we have next week, I think, in Brazil, but my mom didn't let me.
You got a good mom.
Good morning, dear Julia. Good morning to you.
This is your dad?
That's me and my wife when we were young.
Oh, you were good looking when you were young. And you're still good looking.
My first destiny is United States, of course, because I wanted to put better my English.
Well, you do very well, I must say.
Are you planning someday to go to Brazil?
Oh, I would like to.
You can stay in my house if you want.
If you could just dream and have whatever you want, what do you think you would like to be doing?
I see myself in a big family, you know, with a beautiful wife. You know. I want to thank you for this change of experience, you know. You are incredible.
Obrigado.
You are my new granddaughter, and I love you.
I love you too.
And if you were here, I would give you a big hug.
Oh yeah, let's hug. Oh. Bye.
Bye.
So all of a sudden, there's this whole lot of kids in Brazil that are getting these inheritances from crazy places. How many times have you been asked to do charity, and they approach you with a little charity tin, and they say, please help the poor, or please save a kid in the Philippines, or please give food to a hungry child? There's a better way of doing it.
Since 1958, the relief organization Miserior has been creating self-help initiatives for the third world. In the fight against poverty and injustice, every euro counts, and it's clear that even small donations can make a big difference, though very few people know this. The simple solution, the one thing that people always have with them, a credit card. Last year, over 40% of all payments in Europe were made with one. So Miserior developed the first poster that accepts credit cards, the social swipe. When a card is swiped, the resulting donation can provide daily bread for a family in Peru, or help an imprisoned Filipino child return to a normal life, all for just €2. Although it sounds simple, synchronizing the digital poster with a complex card verification system was a challenge. When the card was swiped, a secure process quickly authenticated it and activated a film sequence on screen. This all appeared streamlined thanks to specially developed software. And the posters had a lasting impact. When donors received their credit card statement, they were asked to turn their single donation into a monthly one. It's a small gesture that makes a big difference. The social swipe, making giving easier than ever before.
Isn't that amazing? Okay, this one's shocking, but again, you're going to get an oxytocin rush, but this is driving a much harder message, right? We've all seen road safety campaigns, yes? Anyone not seen a road safety campaign? Anyone ever responded to a road safety campaign? Speed kills, arrive alive. Anyone actually slowed down when they saw that? Probably not.
Mate, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought there was time.
He's just pulled out. I don't have time to stop.
Well, come on, mate. It was a simple mistake.
I know if I was going a bit slower.
Please. I've got my boy in the back.
I'm going too fast. I'm sorry.
Told you a story. You listened, right? So I want to show you one more example of a video in this section. It's going to take us to the next part of our presentation. Again, it's a product demo, just done in a more fancy way. And again, this one's done by Google.
It was 26 years ago, and I was just about to turn 5. We got to the train station and we boarded our train together. My brother just said, I'll stay here and I'll come back. And I just thought, well, you know, I might as well just go to sleep and then just wake me up. And when I wake up the next day, the whole carriage was empty on a runaway train, a ghost train taking me I don't know where. I was adopted out to Australia to a Australian family, and Mum had decorated my room with the map of India, which she put next to my bedside. I woke up every morning seeing that map, and hence it sort of kept the memories alive. People would say, you're trying to find a needle in a haystack, so you never find it. I'd have flashes of the places that I used to go, the flashes of my family faces. There was the image of my mother sitting down with her legs crossed, just watching her cry. Life is just so hard. That was my treasure. And I was looking at Google Map, realised there's Google Earth as well, a world where you could zoom into. I started to have all these thoughts and what possibilities that this could do for me. I said to myself, well, you know, you've got all the photographic memories and landmarks where you're from and you know what the town looks like. This could be an application that you could use to find your way back. I thought, well, I'll put a dot on Calcutta train station in a radius line that, you know, you should be searching around this area. I sort of came across these train tracks and I started following it, and I came to a train station which reflected the same image that was in my memories. Everything matched. I just thought, yep, I know where I'm going. I'm just going to let the map that I have in my head to lead me and take me back to my hometown. I came to the doorstep of the house that I was born and walked around about 15 metres around the corner. There was 3 ladies standing outside adjacent to each other, and the middle one stepped forward, and I just thought, this is your mother. She came forward, she hugged me, and you know, we were there for about 5 minutes. She grabbed my hand and she took me to the house and got on the phone. She rang my sister and my brother to say that, you know, your brother has just all of a sudden appeared like a ghost. And the family was reunited again. Everything's all good. They help my mother out. She doesn't have to be slaving away. She can live the rest of her life in peace. It was a needle in a haystack, but the needle was there. Everything's there. Everything we have in the world is the tap of a button, but you've got to have the will and the determination to wanting it.
So it's just a product demo, guys. And who would have thought that the introduction of Google Maps, and particularly Google Street View, could introduce a new advertising medium? Watch this.
Nowadays, JC&Co invests in digital and has a whole new range of digital features and new technologies for billboards. To obtain presentation meetings to inform Belgium's most important advertisers about our digital features and new technologies, we started from digital. As everyone knows, JC&Co billboards are visible on the streets, but they're also visible on the streets of Google Street View. All these billboards have been left in place for years and years, which means all these brands got years and years of free media space. So why not use this as a powerful B2B tool? We sent 53 of Belgium's biggest advertisers a framed picture of their campaign on Google Street View. We attached a letter and a detailed invoice to inform them that their billboard had been visible on Google Street View for years and years without being paid for. Of course, we weren't going to make them pay this amount.
Can you imagine that invoice lands up on your desk? Hi, you've had a billboard up on Google Street View and we need our money. So that brings us to the next part of the presentation. At first we told you to forget about how you talk to your consumers. Now we're asking you to forget about this thing you guys call the media plan. Because if you give us a media plan, which often looks something like this, you box our creativity. And the reality is you say to us, be creative and think out of the box, but TV must have this budget, and media must have this budget, and outdoor must have this. And if you do that, what you're saying to us is be creative, but don't be creative. And if you do that, then we can't come up with the more exciting stuff. Things like this.
20 years ago, South Africa held its first democratic election. Nelson Mandela was elected into office. And Bishop Desmond Tutu coined the phrase the Rainbow Nation. A rainbow represented the diversity that made South Africa great. On the eve of the 20th anniversary of South Africa's democracy, we wanted to remind people what the symbol of the rainbow stood for. With a lot of testing, a bunch of fancy calculations, and a little bit of magic. So we didn't just show the symbol, we created it. A giant rainbow that appeared above our billboard. People stopped to witness the addition to the skyline. This rainbow is created by capturing the sun at a specific angle through the mist of non-drinkable recycled water. For those on the road, where there was a billboard, there were rainbows too. And because people have always wondered what's at the end of the rainbow, we also brought them down to the ground.
You look at the rainbow and you smile. That's why they call us the rainbow.
So is that activation budget, above the line budget? It went digital, so is that part of which budget would get that? And that's the problem with this thing you call a media plan. Because typically when you say in the media plan, I want to spend X amount on outdoor, I'm not sure you mean something. Simple message, more flights to more destinations. And the agreement they had with this billboard company is every time a plane flew over, no matter what was playing on the billboard, it would stop and the kid would run around and point and say, that's from Barcelona, that's from Madrid, that's from wherever else in the world. Now, in your budget, is that what you mean by outdoor? Just so we know. I want to show you another one, and I love this one. Why do I love this one? Because I love guerrilla tactical marketing. And this one, to me, is the epitome of the ultimate in guerrilla marketing.
In many countries, DHL has more locations, more vehicles, and more employees. That's why DHL is faster. However, to communicate this with a classic advertising campaign is expensive. So why couldn't the competitors advertise for DHL? For that purpose, giant packages were taped all over with thermoactive foil and cooled down below the freezing point. In this way, the competitors picked up a black package that transformed back at temperatures above freezing and delivered the message in the most beautiful colors to addresses in the city that were not that easy to find. After all, they were paid reasonably. The result, an innovative way to communicate. And everyone played along. Well, almost everyone. Thank you very much.
Love it. Love, love, love. I want to talk to you about another example. So Unilever had a problem that radio was too expensive. And they felt that it didn't work. It didn't talk to the target market, right? So what they decided to do was to create a new medium. And again, I want you to watch this, and I want the marketers in this room to tell me that this is what they mean when they tell us radio spend on that thing they call the media plan.
While a small part of the world is worried about the next big thing after Netflix, the rest of the world has some bigger technological issues, like the 130 million people in India who go without electricity on an average of 8 hours a day, every day. They live in a permanent blackout from the world. Bihar and Jharkhand gave us no way to communicate with them, except for one thing, their mobile phones. And in Bihar and Jharkhand, 65% of the population has one. We transformed this rudimentary piece of technology they already have into the only constant and reliable medium of entertainment in town. The Kankajura station, a radio station in a mobile phone that works very simply. You make a missed call to a number, and a few seconds later you receive a call back, with 15 minutes of free entertainment.
चुटकुले भी आ रहा था उसमें, तो शाहरुख खान का भी कुछ उसमें आया.
मैंने एक दिन में 4-5 बार कॉल किया.
Music, news, series, jokes, and, of course, advertising from all our brands. Because with 130 million inhabitants, this was an important market for Unilever's growth in India. During the first weeks, we received 150,000 calls each day. In just 6 months, the Kankajura station is already the largest media channel in Bihar and Jharkhand. With 24 million calls and 8 million unique users. The Kankajura station, a new media that brought rural India out of the media darkness and got it connected to the world.
कानखजूरा स्टेशन 1830,123
Brilliant. So let's create a radio station, and only those that actually want to listen will phone in, and we'll be able to tell you exactly how many people phoned in and how long they listened for. Isn't that a better solution? And you own the radio station, it's your own advertising. So we're launching that now for Unilever in South Africa, and we're going to have the first cell phone radio station. Are there any bankers in the room? Shane, stand up. Now, what would you do if I came to you and said to you, listen, I've got a plan for your ATMs. Okay, it's radical, but I've got a plan for your ATMs.
It started in 1978 as a gay rights protest calling for equality. It was met with prosecution and violence as homosexuality was a crime in New South Wales until 1984. Today, the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras is a dazzling celebration of love and acceptance, but at its heart, it's still a march for equality. For 8 years, one of Australia's largest institutions, ANZ Bank, has supported the event. This year, they joined as principal partner. We wanted people on Sydney streets to interact with the bank, to spread their message of diversity and inclusion. So, in the spirit of the modern Mardi Gras,
well, sponsorship for Sydney's gay and lesbian Mardi Gras has delivered a makeover. 10 cash points dubbed Gay TMs have been transformed by various artists to celebrate the LGBTI community. They also print rainbow-coloured receipts.
Finally,
love it.
Gay people will be able to buy things.
Oh, the gay ATMs, I love them. I just think it's great to have ANZ supporting our community, and it's been all over social media. People are laughing about it, people are talking about it. For people to see that message from a bank like ANZ, it matters. It works.
Whilst non-ANZ customers will still be charged for using the gay TMs, ANZ won't see that money. It will go to charity.
It's great to see these big corporations taking on social responsibility of diversity, and it's about time. Go Australia!
It's the only thing the banks have ever done right, yeah?
Standard Bank, we're coming. So, I want to talk to you about a print ad, right? You tell me that you have this in mind when you talk about print. Or in fact, you'll tell me which budget this should come out of. Protecting kids from the sun, protecting kids in the sun. Now, we mustn't be scared of these new medias, because as you've noticed, some of us sit through the most important periods of our life like this. Some of you are watching my presentation and doing this. Some of you sit with your families and do this. Now, there's two ways to do that. The first way is the way that Coke handled it, and they decided to create an activation around it. Watch this.
Social media is great. It connects you to the world and the people you love. You can chat with your family or share a meal with friends and watch cute little cats do unbelievable things.
Look, she sticks her head out of the box.
Look, she sticks her head out of the box. But there are times when social media can get in the way of the real world. Remember that? It's the thing that happens when you run out of battery. That's why we've developed the Social Media Guard. It takes the social out of media and puts it back into your life. Let's see how it works. social media guard. Get yours now.
That's one way of looking at it. And one way of looking at it is to say, you know what, we're against the social media thing. But I think the next big idea is something else. When we watch TV, this is how we watch TV, right? So there's a TV playing in there, and everybody's on their own mobile devices. And that opens up the world to what they call second screen technology. So a company called Civolution, what they've done is, like Shazam, you know how Shazam works, where you switch it on, it listens to the music? It picks up what you're watching on your TV, and it starts sending you content that's relevant to what you're watching. Now watch this. The next big thing.
Meet the Smiths. Here's Dad, here's Mom, and the two Smith kids, Jamie and Lucy. There's nothing they like more than sitting down as a family and watching TV together. Tonight it's their favorite show, Voice of Holland.
You can now rate each performance using your companion device.
Now Mr. Smith has just downloaded the Play to TV second screen app that will sync with the program using Civolution's video sync technology. Using the microphone on his iPad, the app listens to the program on TV. The content is embedded in real time with Civolution's imperceptible and robust watermark, which allows the app to identify and accurately synchronize with the program. Now a whole host of additional second screen features become available, and on Voice of Holland, the Smiths are using the dynamic slider to rate the performers and share it with their friends. What's this? Lucy's just received a text message from her best friend Alex. Lucy changes channel. The second screen app recognizes the switch immediately and automatically synchronizes with the new show. The app now shows a different engagement, and the top model fans can now answer trivia and polls around the show. Mr. Smith comes back in.
Oh, what did I miss?
Lucy grabs the DVR controller and rewinds to the beginning of the show. The second screen app identifies the change and synchronizes back with the content. Once embedded, the watermark allows time changes to be...
So you get it. It's the next big idea. And why? Because now your Facebook content and your Twitter content can match exactly to what you're watching on TV. And guess what? If your competitor buys the TV spots, don't worry. We'll buy the second screen spots. Much more powerful. So, quite cool. And that's the next big idea. And that brings me to the last part of our presentation. If you want the next big idea, forget about how you treat the creative process. Because if you treat the creative process the same way you've been treating it up until now, your ideas will die in one of two death cycles. Death cycle number one. The insane creative, the one with the tattoos that looks like she hasn't slept because she's been preparing your pitch, arrives with this crazy idea, yes? The client loves the idea. Execution says, no, we can't do that. Sales come in, no, we can't put up those gondolas. Well, that won't work. Or, number two, same creative walks in, execution says, I can do it. Client says, I'm too scared. I'm going to lose my job if this doesn't work. Now, who would have thought that a truck company, the most boring people in the world, could come up with something like this?
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time. We gotta
That was Volvo, people. Volvo, the most conservative trucking company in the world. Now, you saw the fight. Has anyone seen anything else in that campaign except the splits? Anyone? No. So what you didn't see was it was part of a much bigger campaign. And if you look at that campaign, all it is a product demo. That's it. Product demo. Let us demo our product in a very nice, unique way. Now watch the rest of the
How do you get people all over the world to talk about trucks? That was the challenge when Volvo Trucks introduced 5 new models within 12 months. We created a series of films testing new features. Highly relevant for the core target group, but at the same time, spectacular and entertaining enough to attract a broad audience. Why? Because truck buyers are surrounded by a lot of influencers, like drivers, friends, and families.
This is a hook from the new Volvo FMX. Made of cast iron, and it holds up to 32 tons.
This means 300mm ground clearance, just a little bit more than my head.
One of the tests was turned into an interactive 360 experience. Users were invited to take control of 28 cameras to see more angles and share behind-the-scenes footage. The live tests were accompanied by ads in trucking press and followed up by in-depth interviews with the engineers. This was done both in printed and digital form. The aim for each new live test was to increase the fan base, building up for the grand finale of 2013.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time? And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time?
So, this brings me to the most important part of our presentation, the shortest part and definitely the most important part. Those things would not have been made possible without an amazing client-agency relationship. So, let's talk about the naked truth behind the client-agency relationship. And why? Because there was a quote from one of the guys at Cannes that said, honestly, I simply don't trust any of my agencies to actually solve my marketing problems. Okay, it's a true story. Marketers in the room, yes, you've said that. Maybe behind our backs. So, they did a survey to see what we agree on between client and agency and what we disagree on. So the first thing they said was, what leads to the best advertising? Long-standing relationships. And guess what? 84% of agencies agree and 81% of clients agree, and yet every time there's a new brief, it's a pitch. What leads to the best advertising? Collaboration from start to finish. 100% of clients agree, 94% of agencies agree, and guess what? In the creative process, by the time some agencies are pulled in, the big idea is already there. And the media plan is already there. And then you want us to be creative. What leads to the best advertising? Clients trusting their agencies. 98% of agencies agree, 98% of clients agree. So if 98% of agencies agree and 98% of clients agree, why don't we have more trust in our industry? So what I'm going to show you now is a 4-point plan to create better, longer-lasting relationships and better campaigns that actually work. So point number 1, client. Sorry, I need to brief my above-the-line agency for that. Agency. The ATL agency doesn't get it. We got a much better solution. How many times that happened? So, point number 1, partner, just partner, not pitch, partner. Partner with a set of key agencies and form real long-term relationships with them. And guess what? The trend overseas is not to partner with an agency based on a discipline. So you don't talk about partnering with a digital agency or a below-the-line agency or an activation agency. You talk about partnering with an agency, a key set of people that you want to take with you going forward on your brand. And the competencies they don't have, they'll outsource. But partner with these people so you can create better relationships and get better work. It's amazing what we can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit. And that's what happens when you choose real partners. And half the time when you guys go to pitch, what you're actually doing is you're putting 3 agencies in a room, asking them to waste 2 weeks of their time to come back and present something to you, knowing full well you're not going to use it, you've got something in your mind, but you just want to select an agency to work with. And what you've done is, all you've done is you've made your next piece of work much more expensive, because we have to absorb the cost somewhere. So, next problem, agency. I wish our clients had the courage to go beyond messages and embrace brand behaviors. Agency knows everything. Client goes, you're all smart, but you're caught up in your own Kool-Aid, and you've lost sight of the strategy. Why? Because they asked around, how much could the best creative work potentially move your business? Clients said 26% is important, 26% importance on creativity. Agencies said 48%. The problem is some people in agencies said over 100%. And maybe that's the reason why we don't trust each other, because agencies don't get business. So agencies should spend less time on the creative and more time understanding the brand's business objective. We are sometimes so lost in this world called creative that we forget about what the actual business objective is. And we come up with these amazing campaigns, but they don't achieve the business objectives. They'll win all the creative awards, but at the end of the day, you wouldn't have sold one more diaper, or one more chocolate, or one more lead. So agencies forget about creativity, or tone down the creativity, and worry about the brand's business objective. Number 3, I love this one. I wish they could give us more budget so we could enter the idea into Cannes, because that's where we're decorated, right? Clients going, they don't get it. I've only got a limited budget on this brand. And that brings us to point number 3. Intentions are aligned when pockets are aligned. And I challenge all of the marketers in this room to challenge their agency and my agency to go in on a risk basis with you. If we believe in our idea, we should take the risk with you. We should get rewarded if we succeed, and if we fail, we should get penalized. Because if our pockets are aligned, our intentions will be aligned. And I challenge you guys specifically to challenge my agency and to challenge my teams to come on this journey with you, because then we can revolutionize the industry and the agency model. Okay, number 4, the last point. Think of three of your favorite brands. Do you think they took risks or played it safe? 5 years from now, if we ask someone else that same question, do you think you'll be in their top 3 brands? That's the agency talking. The client's going, if you understand my brand and present a risky and somewhat scary idea to us, we will not buy it. We're interested in making waves, but not just for the sake of it. It needs to be strategic and ladder to our brand equity goals. Challenge me, and you'll be surprised at my positive response. And that takes me to my 4th point. Use the strength of the relationship to understand the brand and to understand the risk profile of the client. If you know your client doesn't have a big risk profile, don't go in there with wacky ideas. There are some clients who are more amenable to it, and those are the clients we should use to go wacky. And clients, sometimes you have different brands and different budgets. Tell us where you want us to take more risk. Tell us where you want us more to sway towards just the business objective. And if we get that right, we can do magic with, and actually take less risk, because risk only happens when you don't know what you're doing. I want to show you 3 more videos. Now, this is what happens. It's the last 3 videos of today's presentation. And this is what happens when the agency understands the client trusts the agency, they have a long-term relationship. They can create magic campaigns that can never, ever be paralleled by ad hoc relationships. Watch this.
Well wrapped as well.
Yeah.
Nice decoration. Elastic bands.
Elastic bands from Harvey Nichols, Dad.
Sorry, I spent it on myself. Gift collection.
Yeah, that's what the range is called.
Elastic band gift set.
Yeah.
Right.
2.
2?
I got 2. Oh. Oh. I do hope you haven't spent all your precious money on me. Naughty boy. Paper clips.
Yeah.
Harvey Nichols.
Yeah. Yeah, they're from Harvey Nichols, so, you know.
Harvey Nichols?
I don't think anyone's ever got you anything from Harvey Nichols
Wow.
before, so.
It's toothpicks.
Yeah. You love toothpicks.
What is it?
It's a sink plug.
A little something for them, a bigger something for you.
So their problem was they wanted to become the destination for Christmas shopping. And guess what? They created this product range, and it sold out 2 weeks before Christmas. They couldn't keep up with the demand. Now, there's an agency that knows its client, knows where they can take risks, knows the extent of the risk, and the client comes along. And that only happens with big relationships. I want to show you another one. This is a huge idea. Huge, huge, huge.
This is a story of a small village in northeast Japan, Inakadate. The village, famous for rice, was struggling with an aging and declining population, along with drop in sales, since Japanese eating habits have shifted away from rice toward a more westernized food. Nevertheless, the village's main income source remains rice, so a new project was launched to save the village by shining a new light on its rice production. Rice Gold. By planting different colors of rice, we created huge art pictures in our rice field. We then developed a new technology called Rice Gold. It reads the rice art like a QR code and drives traffic to EC sites. The rice harvested there would home delivered directly. It was acceptable to the visitors because Japanese consumers use its QR code daily. Rice Gold transformed a scene that people naturally want to photograph into a brand new selling place. Purchases can also be made from posters or images shared on Facebook. This new project was mentioned and shared on many blogs and news sites. As a result, visitors increased 30 times the population of the village, and sales jumped dramatically. The power of rice revitalized the village again. This movement even moved the government to build a special train station for the visitors. Field, the oldest outdoor creative, is now the newest. Rice Gold.
Revived a whole village. Revived a marketing idea that revived a whole village. Another one which I really love. You'll love this one. If you like retail and you like FMCG, you'll love this one.
Fruits and vegetables are facing an absurd situation. On one hand, people are encouraged to eat at least 5 a day. A lot of money for families. On the other, we throw 300 million tons of it away each year.
Tout ce qui rentre pas dans la norme, c'est poubelle.
As the European Union made 2014 the European Year Against Food Waste, Intermarché, the third largest supermarket chain in France, decided to rehabilitate the non-calibrated and unperfect fruits and vegetables. So we launched Les Fruits et Légumes Moches, the inglorious fruits and vegetables, starring the grotesque apple, the ridiculous potato, the hideous orange, the failed lemon, the disfigured eggplant, the ugly carrot, and the unfortunate clementine. Now, you can eat 5 inglorious fruits and vegetables a day. As good, but 30% cheaper. How did we do it? We bought from our growers the products they usually throw away and sold them in stores. They got their own aisle, their own labelings, and their own spot on the sales receipt. For people to realize that they were just as good as the others, we designed and distributed inglorious vegetable soups and inglorious fruit juices. And it worked. Our new kind of fruits and vegetables were an immediate success. We faced only one problem: being sold out. 1.2 tons average sale per store during the first 2 days, plus 24% overall store traffic. This initiative increased awareness about food waste.
Mais c'est très bien ce que vous faites. C'est très bien. Il y a assez de gâchis comme ça.
It created a lot of conversation in social networks. Over 13 million people reached after 1 month, and had a big impact in the media. Finally, journalists suggested that every supermarket in the country should do that.
Et moi je milite pour que ça continue, que ça soit dans tous les supermarchés de France.
Bonne idée. The Inglorious Fruits and Vegetables, a glorious fight against food waste.
Cool, the last video for today.
Many countries around the world have eccentric billionaires. And Brazil has its own too, Chiquinho Scarpa. But this time his eccentricity reached a whole new level, and for a good cause. With only one post, Chiquinho Scarpa shocked all of Brazil and the media. He posted on Facebook that he would bury his $500,000 Bentley in the garden of his mansion, inspired by the pharaohs who buried their treasures.
Shove it up your ass, dude.
Donate to those in need. He's ridiculous and a sick person.
On the 3 following days, 3 more posts. Brazil was outraged, and so was the world.
Polêmico enterro do
carro avaliado em mais de R$1 milhão.
Loucura, desperdício.
A famous talk show called Scarpa.
Está marcado para sexta-feira às 11 horas da manhã o enterro da Bentley.
A TV channel sent a helicopter to fly over his mansion.
Tá, marcado aí, minha equipe vai estar aí 11 horas.
And then the big day finally arrived. On this day, the media was there in droves to find out the truth about this absurd story.
Vou parar com esse enterro. Eu vou convidar vocês todos a entrar em minha casa.
Acompanha o Chiquinho.
Muita gente achou um absurdo enterrar o meu Bentley. A grande maioria das pessoas enterra coisas muito mais valiosas do que o meu carro. Grande maioria das pessoas enterra seus órgãos. É o maior desperdício do mundo.
And so, the National Week of Organs Donation was opened. In 1 week, Chiquinho Scarpa went from being a villain to being a national hero. All of the negative comments turned into thousands of declarations of love.
Your campaign moved me so much that now I am a donor.
Thanks for teaching us all a lesson.
For giving that I trashed you. Beautiful gesture.
Mas um motivo nobre estava por trás dessa loucura.
A Semana Nacional de Doação de Órgãos.
Eu sou doador, doe órgãos. Eu acho que é um dos maiores casos de condução de mídia que eu já vi na história, né?
And so, we showed to all of Brazil that nothing is more valuable than an organ.
Amazing, right. So guys, that brings me to the end of today's presentation. 3 takeouts if you're going to walk away with anything. Number 1, forget how you talk to your customers. Forget about demographics, psychographics. Think about 2 things, the mind and the heart. Find a mission, create a brand with purpose, and talk to them. Use mind triggers and capture the heart. 2, tear up this bloody media plan. Let us be creative. Tell us you have a problem and tell us you have a budget. We'll come back with the rest. Don't dictate the media. Number 3, forget how you approach the creative process. Let us have some leeway to play. Form real, long-lasting relationships with your agencies. Stop chopping and changing. If it's not us, with anyone, stop chopping and changing. Let's spend less time on useless pitches and more time building magic, things that we can actually work together on. Guys, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. I hope we can take all these learnings and make some real magic this year.
Okay. Hi, my name is Yumna from FNB, and I was truly inspired by the presentation that was done today by TCC. What I found really inspiring about it was the fact that it's more of a people-focused approach. I spent the first 45 minutes of the presentation almost in tears because I was moved by the way in which the heart and mind was touched.
My key findings were today, I found it incredibly interesting coming from client side. It's interesting to understand how basically the different limits that we have as a client can be pushed, and basically looking at how Creative Council and what they learned overseas from Cannes, how we can push the limits and the boundaries from our brands, even though they are international.
There are the people that are buying our brands, and just having that emotional connection and brand purpose to your brand is what really stood out for me. I was very inspired by the creative pieces that I saw today, and I will strive more as a marketer to then apply what I've learned and hopefully produce inspiring commercials like I saw today.
I really enjoyed today's presentation. I think it was really insightful. There were a lot of key learnings that I took out of the presentation. It was a morning full of high-level oxytocin. Thank you, Ryan. The most exciting thing for me, I guess, is the new direction of marketing within South Africa. And I think we're in for some big changes and very exciting changes, but also much needed changes.
Well, as usual, Run's always insightful. Great learnings from Cannes this year as well. I agree completely in terms of we need to relook the way we have relationships with agencies and building that long-term trust which you can leverage over years.